No face today. Really didn't feel like it added anything to the video. All right, so I really want to see more unique, fun deck brews out there. That's kind of the whole point of this channel. I've noticed more and more of my friends falling down a similar path of, well, blank is so powerful, why wouldn't I just run that? VV or Sithis or Stacks is so strong, why wouldn't I just want to play that? This line of thinking has led to less and less unique decks, yes, but also less fun games of Magic, where the unique decks at the table get absolutely wiped by all the value and power. Now, I think there's a few reasons why players become these type of players that like very high efficiency, high power decks. One, that player genuinely just likes powerful effects and high power Magic, which is 100% fine. This video just might not be for you. The second reason people end up with these high power, high efficiency decks is peer pressure. The amount of new players I see come into the card shop, show their deck, get told immediately what upgrades they could make, just to see them coming in next time asking how they could go about building an Ur-Dragon deck is actually nuts. The judgment of people around you is a fast track to dropping way more money on this game for a way less fun and way less unique experience, which I've never understood. And finally, the third reason you will play high power, high efficiency, homogenized commander is you just don't want to build a deck of your own. You want to buy a precon or just order the best version of a deck list online, and that's the end of it. Adding the occasional upgrade, but only when you're told to, again, by some outside source. The funny thing is, I find more and more people around me becoming bored of the game, bored of the format, and bored of the decks they're playing, and honestly, I think there's a fun deck renaissance coming our way, boys, so buckle up. I don't really like getting into the super intellectual discussions when it comes to most things. I'm just here for the vibes, you know? I'm not nearly as smart as your wise hoopos or your trinket mages, but a lot of these super smart Magic content creators have been making content recently that leaves me feeling a little hopeful and a little vindicated with my thoughts of Commander deck building in its current state. I mean, seriously, look at all this content that's coming out. The casual Commander community is looking for one thing right now: fun and interesting decks, random and social decks, or in other words, Commander decks. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of not building what I want to build anymore out of fear of it being suboptimal, or out of the fear that it doesn't follow some invisible deck building rule that some MTG YouTuber loved to talk about, and I'm just as guilty of that. But with all these hard and fast rules being applied to every deck, how are decks supposed to stand out? How are they supposed to tap into what Commander originally was? A 100 card singleton format, an incredibly amorphous format that lets any player bring their favorite cards and interactions and make them work. The fact that I'm seeing videos talking about Avenger Zendikar again, or people wanting to talk about building interesting decks again, feels like a smoke signal from the community. We need fun back in this format. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of these videos that have dropped recently, give a call to action at the end, and get to the bottom of this wave of MTG content. So, if that sounds interesting, like, comment, subscribe, let's get into it. Very Bad Deck Techs made a video, also a great channel name, you need to go check him out, he makes some great content. Very Bad Deck Techs made a video called The Truth About Bad Cards, Giving Identity to Your Commander Decks, that I really suggest you go give a watch. It's actually what inspired me to make this video. In it, he talks about silly, or often viewed as bad commanders, and how using them can lead to some of the most memorable decks you'll ever build. A few points that I really like. One, he talks about this idea of charted territory. Historically, charted territory isn't very exciting. It's the definition of been there, done that. Commanders that are heavily played in the format fall into this same category. As a community, we've seen the Ur-Dragon 1,000 times. We've been there, we've done that. That leads to a lack of connection with the deck and a deck with no personal identity. He also talks about overlooked or suboptimal card choices within a deck that can actually create new synergies and interactions in that deck. For example, in a token deck, you might run Doubling Season thinking, hey, this is the go-to token card. This is one of the best, if not the best token card I could run. It's strong, it's efficient, and it's been done a billion times. But if you look deeper at your list, you might notice a ton of ETB effects that make tokens or care about creatures entering and leaving the battlefield, and that might open you up to running something like a Mimic Vat instead, to reuse the powerful ETBs of creatures that die on your side, or maybe something like a Conjurer's Closet to get a guaranteed blink every turn, and blink one of your, I don't know, Avenger Zendikars every turn. On paper, these might look weaker than a Doubling Season in a token deck, but in practice, in the right shell, they can generate even more value, and sometimes sometimes even more tokens than the obvious staples. And more importantly, make the deck feel more unique and personalized, all right? We just don't want our decks being so obvious, you know what I mean? It's like when you go to the therapist and the therapist is like, oh, your blood pressure's high. And I'm like, oh, is it, person that I'm talking to about my deepest, darkest secrets? That's weird. Very Bad Deck Text goes on to make another really good point. Silly cards are valid. Run the silly cards that make you happy. They then give a really good example with commanders, talking about mono blue specifically. Very Bad Deck Text couldn't decide between Urza or Signet. Now, one is obviously more powerful, but one is more open-ended. Urza usually becomes one of two things and really only has access to two themes, an artifact deck and a combo deck. That's mostly it. You can predict a lot of the deck just when you see it across from you. Signet, however, opens you up to a way more creative space. She creates tokens on ETB, which interacts with blink effects and token strategies. The tokens have flying, which opens her up to flying synergies, and she buffs flyers, which adds another layer of flying synergy to the deck. What looks weaker on paper actually turns out to be an absolute banger that opens you up to plenty of different lanes when it comes to gameplay. The funny thing is, if you sit down across from an Urza deck, you already know the deck. But if someone sits down with Signet, you have no idea what's coming. The uncertainty is kind of exciting, honestly. It's nice to sit down across from a deck that's not just your cookie cutter, oh, I know what that entire list is going to be, let's do it. Underplayed commanders give you room to create. Again, go check out Very Bad Deck Text for some great commander content. Loved this video, my guy. Keep it up. Moving on, you've got Mana Hungry and Reminder Text both making videos about turning their commander decks into Slay the Spire style deck builders. I have no idea how they both released videos on the same topic so close, but that kind of goes to show the community really wants some more varied and fun gameplay. In the video, they run cards for the express purpose of making each game random. Again, there will be links to all these videos I bring up. They're super fun watches. They turn their decks literally into deck builders where you get to tap into different strategies and different lanes while you're playing the deck. They explain it much better than I do. Go give it a watch. You've also got Trinket Mage making a video called The Death of EDH Brewing, going over how deck brewers are dying and people just don't want to brew decks anymore. This in big part is because of precons and Decklist Online making it easier for players to buy a deck without thinking, leading to homogenization of decks as everyone's card pools have become very similar. Trinket goes on to talk about how popular commanders and themes get such powerful cards printed for them in recent sets that if you don't run them, you fall behind. Speaking of falling behind, he makes a great point about sitting across from a deck that's very optimized as a brewer. You will have this experience where every now and then you will get absolutely destroyed by efficiency, leading you to think you need to change your deck or commander, which can lead to making very small changes that over time leads to you running the same decks that we're trying to avoid. It's a really good watch. I'd recommend it. Trinket's sentiment here is dead on. Where have all the brewers gone? And finally, you've got Distraction Makers and Blood Artist both making videos about how Magic design has changed. Again, leading into talking points about homogenized card selection and same deck building. Stemming from, again, Wizards printing such powerful cards now. Both videos talk about old Magic design and Commander with a sort of like fondness for the deck building process, as it used to be much more exciting and wild west coded. This is all to say, there is clearly a want in the Magic community for some unique, fun brewing, and I think you all watching are just the people to do it. So here's my opinion on how you can start building more enjoyable decks to play. Opinion number one, cut staples, okay? If you're not having a fun time, it's probably because you are either one, way more powerful than the rest of the table, or playing the game way more efficiently than the rest of the table, which leads to your deck firing off, sure, but as we discussed earlier in the video, leads to your deck not being personalized, not feeling like your deck. So cut some staples for some cards that might not feel as good. We already brought up the Doubling Season, Mimic Vat, Conjurer's Closet example, stuff like that. My next suggestion is step out of your comfort zone. That's what I've been doing with this channel, is building decks that are strictly outside of my comfort zone, and it has led to me having a lot more fun playing the game and led to me having a lot more fun building decks. I don't like Typal commanders. I built a Typal deck. I hate mono blue. I built a mono blue deck. I don't like Mardu. I built a Mardu deck. And trust me, there's a ton more about this game that I thought I didn't enjoy, but my batting average so far seems to tell me that I will enjoy it as soon as I build the deck. So step outside of your comfort zone, build that deck you normally don't. Another way to make your decks way more fun is to build with a challenge in mind. Now, these can be one of many things. It could be what we just discussed, building a theme outside of your comfort zone, just could be the challenge for you. Or maybe you want to build your deck with a gimmick, like all of your cards, people have scars in them, or all of your cards contain a lizard, stuff like that. You might have like an art gimmick or a theme gimmick or a mechanic gimmick. This doesn't mean take apart all your other decks, just build a gimmick deck and see how you like it. The challenge could be budget. This is one of my favorite ways to enjoy deck building, is set a budget for yourself and don't let yourself go over the budget. This is a real package deal. This will help you have so much more fun. Budget makes you put in a lot more consideration before adding a card, because that card just upped your budget a little bit. It also makes it so you can't run as many powerful cards or staples, because a lot of the times those cost a lot of money. So budget, great way to have fun when you're building a deck. Or you could go with my all-time favorite way to build a fun deck. Look for underplayed commanders. Go to EDH Rec, go to top commanders, keep scrolling until you get into like the 2,000 decks and under range, and find a commander you like and build that thing. And of course, you could do the opposite of this. You could take a unique angle on an already existing commander. This is what I did with Terra, who is an already existing weenie graveyard commander, and I turned it into a Typal Zombies commander, which I think was very, very cool, and it's one of my favorite decks to play right now. So, taking a unique angle on an existing commander, definitely a way to start having more fun in your games. Drop a comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. If you want to show a little bit of additional support, you can head over to the YouTube members or Patreon members page, links in the description. For as low as $1 a month, you can really help me out and gain access to the deck submission form, where I will review some of your decks for Friday Night Deck reviews. Also, check out the nixlotus.com website to use some of our tools and pick yourself up some merch. Appreciate you guys a lot. All the support has been amazing, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.